Good evening to one and all. First and foremost, I thanks to management, Namana Trust, Vice Principal sir and Principal sir and Vice Principal sir for shortlisted me for the best teacher award. Now I want to start my presentation. My topic is programming and networking. Programming and networking means, suppose for example, these two fields are the one of the most essential field in a day-to-day life, because assume that two students are there. One student will be in Lakshmeshwar and one more student will be in Delhi. The Delhi students can easily communicate with Lakshmeshwar students, and Lakshmeshwar students can easily communicate with Delhi students because of networking concept. If networking concept is not there, it is very difficult to communicate between each other. For communication purpose only, I have taken the topic of networking. For apart from networking, we'll be having programming. When I want to develop a beautiful applications in a day-to-day life, I need programming concept. Without having programming concept, I can't develop a beautiful applications in a day-to-day life. Let me see my slides, how I want to create it. So these are the content I want to deliver now. What are the basic concepts of networking and programming, and why do we need these two concepts in a day-to-day life, and what is the main difference between programming with networking and networking with programming? Apart from that, what are the main problems of these two concepts, and what are the applications in a day-to-day life, and conclusion. Next. See, these are all our beautiful images will be there for electronic devices. Almost all the devices need what is that? Need input and output concept. Need and input concept means, you can see we'll be having car and pan. We have many more. Even clock will be there. Any device you can see here. Almost all the devices need input component and output component, where all the input component and output component will be working only on the basis of drivers. Why we need drivers and why I should call device will be, let me see in the next slide. So you can see the pictures, how the peoples are working. You can see these two concepts. So we have four friends, and all four friends will be working between each other for communication purpose. They are developing few applications. Even also we will be having one more person will be doing something here, and see how people will be chatting with a mobile there. And here also one independent guy is developing some applications, and this one is the small networking concept. So how exactly one device to another device will be communicating between each other. So with respect to this field, I came to know that programming and networking, these two are the main integral part, and these two part you cannot make a separated out. Okay, we can see the next slide. What is that? And you can see that you can see almost all the devices. So when I want to connect in between two devices, we require networking concept for communication between each other. You can see that we'll be having more than one client, and we'll be having only one server there, and we'll be having one more device, one more resources will be there, and all the devices will be communicating between the central hub will be there, and for communication purpose. And these are the few devices also required in a day-to-day life. And you can see almost all the electronic devices we required for the input and output there. Next, you can see the just overview I have given for the with respect to picture. Also you can easily identify networking concept and programming concept. Okay, next slide I can see. Okay, before explaining my programming and networking concept, so I wanted to know the few terms. First term will be device. Why should I call device? See, different types of devices will be available onto the market. Some devices are wired device, some devices are wireless device. And why should I call device? If you are taking wired device and wireless device, both devices are required processor. See, you can see the processor. Device. Why should I call device? Any component, most of the component will be available onto the market. Almost all the component will be need processor. Almost all component will be connected to a processor. Hence, I am calling it as device. Most of the component you can take. Most of the electronic device you can take in a day-to-day life. Most of the devices having input and output. And drivers. See, every device have drivers. In case if the particular device is unable to communicating with the drivers, the device itself is a useless device. Suppose for example, you can take most of the input device and output device. Most of the input devices having drivers and most of the output devices having drivers. That's what input devices and output devices will be working. In case if the particular device is not having drivers, then device will not work. That's what will be having device and drivers. Next, I have input. Input is nothing but what most of the electronic component have input. Even most of the output component is having also we have some concept for connecting option. Input, every input component either maybe keyboard, mouse, light pen, digitizer, scanner. So these are the few input component, and most of the input component need all of the input component can be connected to a processor. Hence I am calling it as input devices. And output is nothing but what we have few output devices like printer, plotter, speaker, monitor. Most of the output component will be connected to a processor. Hence I am calling it as output devices. Just you can see. These are all are purely we required for networking and programming. Device concept, driver, input and output. Next I have language. See, when two persons are communicating with each other, he is called it as language. See, two best friends are communicating in Kannada and even two best friends are communicating in Hindi. Both can understand Kannada and Hindi, but the same language will not able to understand our PC, the same language will not able to understand our desktop computer system. In order to understand this desktop system, in order to understand our PC, we require programming concept. That's what I am taking programming language. Language can understand only user, but programming language will be understood by our desktop system or understood by in a day-to-day life. That's what I am taking programming language. See, what do you mean by programming language? Programming language is the medium of communication between user and machine. One part will be user, one part will be machine. That's what I have programming language here. This is a figure shows that simple configuration of the few concept of programming and networking. I have taken input devices here. So we have keyboard, mouse, light pen, digitizer, scanner. We have a few output devices like a printer, plotter, speaker, monitor. You can see most of the input component is also connected to a processor, and most of the output component is also connected to a processor. That's what we have a input device part, we have a output devices part, and even few devices also we have, and these in the middle part they want to take the services from either maybe input or maybe output. That's what we have a middle part here. And these are the most electronic devices. Most of the electronic devices they have classified for the input part and they have classified for the output part. Okay, next. You can see the part. So we have some different types of programming language will be there. We have entire programming language can be divided into two types. One is the low level programming language, one is the high level programming language. See, in low level programming language, because low level programming language is a language, this language will be easily understood by the machine, and this machine easily understood by the machine. But in high level programming language is a language, this language will be easily understood by the user. Programming language is the medium of communication between user and machine. One language will be understood by user, one language will be understood by machine. That's what we have low level and high level. Next, in low level programming language, this language will be understood by only binary zeros and ones. But this language, it is very difficult to interact with user, because this language will be understood by only machine. This low level programming language will not able to understood by user. First and foremost, no interaction. Then where you want to interact with machine level language then? That's what they can understand, only binary zeros and ones, and there is no interaction concept. When it is no interaction, then where should I write program then? No programming concept at all. Then we'll come to the high level programming language. This programming language will be understood by user first and foremost. And this high level programming language is like a English like statement. He is called as high level programming language. And here in high level programming language, we have some translators. Translator means which is used to translating from one programming language into another programming language. We have few translators there, like compiler, assembler, loader, linker. We have some translators will be there. We can easily translating from low level language into high level language, whichever the programming language you want, you can translate it. We have translator here. And here we have user interaction. And low level language, no interaction at all. So these two types will be there, and that's what low level programming language and high level programming language. Next will be, we have middle level programming language. Just you can see the picture. So apart from this picture, you can see that this is a figure, so that simple configuration of and types of programming language will be. I have some machine here. This machine can understand only binary zeros and ones. I have a high level programming language. I have a end user, the human can understand only English like statement, like whichever may be alphabets and lowercase, uppercase numbers will be come to this part. And I have some middle level programming language. Middle level programming language is a language, this language containing a functionality of both low level language and high level language. That is middle level programming language will be required. You can go for few examples like C, C++, Java. So these are the programming languages having a middle level part. Next, and first and foremost, I will go with an networking concept. Network is nothing but what? So communication between two devices. When I want to communicate between two devices, I have networking concept here. Networking is also one of the main essential part of our computer science and engineering background. In networking concept is mainly focuses on managing the computer resources. Managing the computer resources and maintaining the computer resources. You can see computer is nothing but what? I have a keyboard is also connected to CPU, mouse is also connected to CPU, even whichever the devices you can take. I want to maintaining all the input devices and output device, storage device, control device. We need networking there. If networking is not there, then who will be taking care of entire communication part? That's what networking is also one of the essential part in a computer science and engineering field. That's what I have taken networking concept. You can see. See, apart from this networking part, we'll be having programming part. So programming is nothing but what mainly focuses on developing a real-time applications. When you're going to developing a real-time applications, we require programming there. Without having programming concept, then how I want to developing a few applications there? That's what programming is also a main integral part of a computer science and engineering field. So you cannot make a separated out from networking concept and programming concept. Without networking, you can't maintaining the computer devices. Without networking, we can't maintaining, and even we can't managing all the networking concepts. And even programming is also, it is very difficult to developing a real-time applications without programming. That's what these two topics I have taken for the networking and programming concept. And apart from, we'll be having some internet. So network of networks, he is called as internet there. So internet is also one of the primary source of networking. So why primary source of networking? Because without internet we can't get to the more detailed information. That's what internet is also part of networking. Even networking is also part of internet. So apart from this, you can see the picture. This is a figure, so that simple configuration of a networking concept and programming concept. See, I have two users, how they will communicate with each other. You can see the picture, how they will be communicating with each other, because they wanted to develop a real-time application also we required. You can see that this is also picture. This figure shows that simple configuration of we have a networking and programming concept. See how the people will be interacting with each other. All over the world we required programming and networking concept. Next. See, programming, as I told you already, programming is also one of the essential part in a day-to-day life. When I want to develop my real-time applications, we require programming concept. That's what I have written here. Programming is the process of coding a technology. So machine to ensure they operate as expected, because what I am going to expected from the end user, so the same machine will be working with respect to my requirement. That's what programming concept is also required. Even though those are not able to understand, with the help of programming concept, I want to develop my real-time applications. I want to test my real-time applications. Even I want to maintain my real-time applications with programming concept. That's what I have written here. And we have written few things, because without coding, how our system will be working? Without coding, our system will not work. That's what coding part will be taking care of the programming. I have written coding here. Coding is also main part of our computer system. That's what coding is also required. So with the help of programming concept, I want to test all the functionality of our input device. I want to test all the functionality of the output device, storage device, control device. That's what this part is also very much essential required. Next, with the help of programming, I want to develop my real-time applications. Next, with the help of this, I want to maintaining my system, maintaining my software, and even I want to update my software in a day-to-day basis with respect to requirement. That is also required. So I want to store in a some information in terms of rows and columns. That's what even managing a database is also required. These are the few things I have taken for the programming concept. See, this is a figure clearly shows that how they have written their programming coding. Next. We have a networking, sir. This is a figure so that simple configuration happen. We have a more than 5 friends, beautiful friends. How they will communicating with each other with a networking concept. Just you can see here. Networking, because networking is purely meant for managing the computer resources, maintaining the computer resources there. So for that reason, I have taken this networking concept. Without networking, then very difficult to communicate between each other there. That's what I have taken networking concept. And even with the help of networking concept, this might be including even developing a computer system. This might be including a designing up our computer system. These are the things I have written here. Even you can see for their structure also, you can easily implement this. Next, with the help of networking, you can easily check the security of checking the computer network security. And we have some many problems we are facing, like virus. If any virus will be attacked in a system, so that time it is very troubleshooting for me to operate my computer system. You can easily rectify those problems with the help of networking concept. That's what troubleshooting network malfunction is also required. And with the help of networking, you can usually update the security protection applications in a day-to-day life. That's what protection is also part of this. See how the people will be interaction with each other, more than 5 peoples. Next. See, these are the this is a figure so that simple configuration of an you can see this part will be purely meant for programming part, and this part will be purely meant for networking part. You can see that maintaining the computer system, updating the computer system there, and this is for purely meant for writing the real-time code based on the requirement. That's what these two also require. And I have written here networking and programming. These two are the beautiful topics with respect to computer science. You can easily these two are the main topic. You can, it's very difficult to separate it out these two, because with the help of these two concept only I want to develop my real-time applications. That's what I have taken. Networking and programming is also one of the main essential part of our in a day-to-day life. Next, you can see, as I told you already, network is purely meant for you can maintain the existing computer systems, or you can manage the existing computer system for communication purpose. When I want to develop my real-time applications with respect to based on the requirement, your programming concept is also very much essential is required. That's what I have taken. Programming is also part of this. Next, we have a networking there, and as I told you already, networking and programming are the main integral part in a day-to-day life. You cannot make it separated out. When I want to communicate, when I want to develop in a real-time applications, we require networking and programming concept. These are the picture you can easily understand very well there. Next. So how I have taken here, you can see some other how the beautiful things where we are using in a day-to-day life. Other important skills is also required these two topics. So you can see analysis. So with the help of programming and networking concept, I can easily analyze the performance of the our devices in a day-to-day devices, how they will work, how fast they are working. You can easily analyze the performance. That's what analysis is also one advantages. Next, I have taken communication, because without communicating it is very difficult to develop, and it is very difficult to connect also. For connecting purpose, communication is also main integral part. That's what we have taken. Even communication is also one of the beautiful advantages of these two topics. Next, we have taken an organization. See, in a particular place, when I want to do few online services there, with the help of particular organization, I want to do few online services also. Even organization is also very much essentially we required here. That's what I have taken. Organization is also very much essential part. Next, we have time management. So with the help of programming concept and with the help of networking concept also, I came to know that how I want to manage my time in a day-to-day life. How fast our devices will be working and how fast our device will be connecting between each other. That's what time management is also a part of our life, and it is part of my topic. Next, we have problem solving. See, in a day-to-day life, when I want to solve my problems, so we require problem solving is also one of the main essential part of our programming and networking concept. That's what I have taken, programming concept, problem solving. These two are the few other advantages of programming and networking here. And this is a figure so that simple configuration upon how exactly programming and networking will be working. Okay. Next slide. So these are all a few advantages and disadvantages. So we have some advantages of a computer network and networking concept. First and foremost, resource sharing. Resource sharing is nothing but what input device, output device, storage device, control device, processing device. You can easily share from one place to another place very easily with the help of networking concept. And we have communication, because input device will be communicating with the output device, and output device is also communicating with input device. That's what communication is also required. And with the help of networking concept, you can easily increases the efficiency of the devices. That's what we have, a increased productivity is also required. And compared to any other devices, networking is also very most of the devices are very flexible. You can very easily it will be available within some nominal cost. The devices will be available onto the market. Anybody can purchase and anybody can use it for the connectivity purpose. That's what highly flexible. And we have a centralized storage. Most of the program data information can be stored onto the one place, like memory. Memory is a storage device. That's what central storage of data is also one of the essential part. So next will be what is the exactly problem of this networking, disadvantages of these two concepts. So first and foremost will be security risk. So one of the main problem is the n number of information will be available onto the internet. So while taking information, there is a problem of security issues. If suddenly any security issues come, so it is very difficult to rectify those security issues. That's what security is also one of the main essential part of this topic. That's what I have taken here, security. Next will be dependency on technology. So in a day-to-day life, most of the applications will be dependent on one technology there. One application will be dependent on one technology. So the same application will not be used with same technology. You can use it on some other technology also. Dependency is also one of the main problem we are facing. Next, we have potential for the network. Potential is nothing but what in a day-to-day life, the users of the network, so day by day will be increasing. N number of users will be working on the internet. So there is no question of decreasing. So there is a possibility of increasing. More and more people will be using in a day-to-day life. That's what potential for networking is also very much essential. Next, we have presence of computer virus. So virus is a one type of program that enter into the computer system without knowing a computer operator. That's what virus is also one of the problem we are facing here. Next, we have expensive. Expensive is nothing but what it should be too costly. Most of the devices are not cheap and best. Most of the devices are too costly, expensive. Too costly devices also available there. Expenses is also problem. When any virus attacks, when any if no one will give the guarantee, and when you're facing security issues, there is a possibility of loss of information is also required. Loss of information is also problem. And when these two concepts, so the system can be hacked. Anybody can hack it. If problems will be there, then anybody can hack it. This is also issues will be there. So that's what I have taken these two. Next, we have few advantages will be disadvantages. So programming concept, as we know that computer programming is also very fast. So computer programming is very fast, and as the programmer you have to learn a new information quickly and with respect to day-to-day life. Next will be having a computer program will be causes a health problems. So you can see first one is also one of the advantage, and this will be one of the main disadvantage of our programming concept. You can see the computer programming causes the health problems because based on the requirement, when we have developed the applications, he will sit day and night. He wanted to develop a real-time application, so there is a problem of health problem also may arise. Next one is nothing but what, while developing a real-time applications, the software engineers or one who developing a real-time applications, he will spend a lot of time for sitting in one place. So typing in front of the computers also matters. And apart from that, there is a lot of problems we are facing while developing my real-time applications. So sometimes it should be on the basis of target based, they are working day and night. So these are the problems we are facing programming concept. Sometimes the problem will be health risk. No one will give the guarantee for the health also. So when developing a real-time applications, he will sit day and night. So when he will sit day and night, there is a problem, some problem will be arises. That's what health risk is also one of the main problem we are facing. Apart from that, when new language introduced into the market, then immediately he will pick up the new languages and he wanted to learn and he wanted to start developing. That is also so problems we are facing in a day-to-day life. These are the few main advantages and disadvantages of programming also we are using. Next. So lastly, we have a applications there. We have a resource sharing concept. With the help of networking and programming, we can easily share the resources from one device. You can easily share the resources from one place to another place. We have communication. With the help of networking concept, I can easily connecting my any devices from one place to another place, either maybe wired or maybe wireless communication. Home applications, see while developing my real-time applications, either maybe home based applications or maybe business based applications, I need both networking concept and programming concept is also required. And few applications are using home purpose and few applications are using business purpose, whatever the applications have developed with networking and programming concept. Next, we have social media. You know already, we can easily share the information within a fraction of second with the help of social media. You know already, you are become too frequent. Next, we have cloud computing. We have apart from this internal storage, and few companies are providing from the virtual storage also. For virtual storage also, we require cloud computing also come into the picture. Each part. So these are all our few applications I am going to taking. Keep in mind that. Next. So I come to the conclusion that what I want to say is that when I want to connect my two devices, when I want to develop my real-time applications in a day-to-day life, so these two concepts are very much essential. Networking and programming concept is also very much essential required. So when programming and networking is also required, when these two concepts, if any one concept is not there, it is very difficult to communicate between each other. That's what I come to the conclusion that so networking and programming, these two are the main revolutionary part in a day-to-day life. It is very difficult to separate it out. Next image. So you can see how exactly my the topic conclusion. So with in a computer it's also working with help of communication part. So one he will sit here and how they will communicating between each other. Without this it is very difficult to communicate. Any programming language you can take, any networking concept you can take, these two are the essential part. Next part, so how the peoples are working, just you look like this. So one man is working like he will developing working as a software engineer there, and he will be see many peoples are developed a real time applications with the help of programming concept. You can see how they will develop. So next, so these are the things, so concepts I have taken here. So thank you.